We're actually going to be live on YouTube right now. So hello, everyone. This is Dr. Reverend Tammy, and this is Expert Profiles, Conversations with Influencers and Innovators. And today, I'm really excited because who doesn't want to talk about money and how to save money, get more money, have money, all of us. And I actually have known our guest today, Quintana, for a while now, and she has written a book called The Less You Know, the More They Make. Who is they? Chris will talk about that. And today it's going to be a nice, concise 30-minute program with Chris, but I think it's really important. And here we are, we're already going into the 7th month of 2021. We're coming out of a year and a half of, I guess we can call it COVID, of that. And a lot of our lives have been a little bit different, but through that, Chris has been helping thousands of women get educated about money and finances. So with that, Chris, tell me a little bit more about how you help people.
So like my book says, the less you know, the more they make. That is actually talking about our government and our financial system. And so what I do is I educate people and let them know about different topics, different tips and tricks. I call them tricks, insider secrets that they don't really want us to know about, but they are available. They're just not advertised. But we're not taught this in school because the less we know, the more they make. So, I mean, go ahead.
I know that's true because in our conversations we've had before, there's many people out there who are, let's say, they make a lot of money, but they're still what they would call themselves broke. They don't have a savings for the future. And I guess my biggest question that is always at the top of my mind is it too late to plan for retirement if you're already, say, in your 50s or even 60s?
You know what? The answer to that kind of depends, really. It depends on the person. It depends on how open they are to opportunities, because there are opportunities out there that can, you don't actually have to work 40 years to create a retirement if you know what the wealthy people are using for to make their money work for them. And so I say it depends on basically who you know. Who do you know? In this situation, like to answer that question, it's kind of like, who do you know that can tell you the truth about what's available out there?
So who do you, if you heard that, Chris, it was already being recorded, but I'm double recording it.
Okay.
So who you know, who should you know? Because I know many of us, I think we're a little bit hesitant to share our financial background. You know, maybe we're embarrassed, or let's just admit it, maybe we're ashamed because we don't have as much saved as what we could have because of life circumstances. So who should we know who can help us with our money, no matter what the age?
Well, the thing is, you have to have somebody that you trust, that you know is actually doing the same thing that they're telling you about. Because if you have somebody that's not doing, because there are a lot of people out there that will sell you something that they're not doing themselves, or they're promoting because it's their job. That's, you know, they try to fit you into whatever they have available. And so you want to make sure that you're with somebody, or you're talking to somebody about your finances that you trust. And I mean, the reason why I do what I do now is because I happen to reach or talk to a financial professional that took advantage of me. And after that, I said, I will never let anybody, help me with my money again. But that kind of was a blessing in disguise, because it made me learn so much about our system that I would have never known about. So really, if you are looking to find opportunities that can help you like create cash flow now, you got to trust the person that you're talking to, or at least if you're talking to somebody, if you like, who do you work with, who is helping you, or you find somebody, because success leaves clues, and we have to follow the people that are successful, especially when it comes to our finances. Because if we're following broke people, because there's a lot of people out there that pretend to have a lot of money because they spend all their money to look good or to look rich, but find out what they're doing to make the money. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that a lot in the online world, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on Expert Profiles today, is because I know you, and I've actually taken your advice, and what you told me was 100% accurate and true. And that was very exciting to learn that I could make 10% on my money in 3 months. And you said, yes, it will happen. And it did. And I was like, wow. And so now I feel confident that, I tested your advice, I guess is a good way to say it. And your advice was true and accurate. And I wanted to ask you something, because many of us are, when we go to school, for example, I'm thinking back when I went to school, what I learned about money, I think I learned how to budget and how to write checks, but I never learned anything about saving. I didn't learn anything about how to save money on taxes. I remember being told literally, graduate, and if you go to college, it was get a job. And then if you wanted to go to college, it was to get a better job. And the savings plan was, if you were lucky, you would have a 401k. So in your opinion, when should we start saving? And are 401ks everything they're cracked up to be?
Well, so what I will say about that is I think every person should start saving, or, not spending all their money. What happens is a lot of people, every time they get paid, they spend every bit of the money that they make. So they're living paycheck to paycheck. And I see this with people that make a lot of money also. They spend, every time they get a raise, they give themselves a living raise. And this is why so many people that I have come across have filed bankruptcy, because they're living the life. They're really living the life. And I do have clients that that have had and used their 401k and have done very, very well. And the thing is, if you don't know any other way, the 401k is definitely, I suggest that people do something. Do something is better than nothing. But if you know better, there are ways to make more money with, using other options. Because most likely, the only reason why 401ks were developed, I believe it was in 1984, is that they created it to help people that made a lot of money to be able to defer their taxes on their money. So it was a good thing for people that had no or that made a lot of money. But for the people that don't make a lot of money, paying your taxes now is actually a better time to do it than to pay later, because taxes are just going up. I mean, if you look at the debt that our country's in, or you look at the amount of money that is being spent, the only way that they're even going to be able to keep up with maybe the with the debt even a tiny bit, maybe the interest of the debt, they're going to have to raise taxes. There's no way around it. But there's always ways, if you're in the know, or you know somebody that's in the know, there's ways to not have to pay the maximum amount of taxes. There's ways to, pay your fair share, and that's it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So as you're talking, I'm thinking about planning and strategies and growing wealth. And obviously our system was set up, I guess, so the wealthy get wealthier and the poor seem to get poorer or stay at the level. And I don't even know if we have a middle class anymore. So when you talk to people, do you have like a strategy plan where you just have a conversation? What types of questions do you ask people that they should be able to answer yes to or no to?
I guess one of the questions that I like to ask people that most people have not a clue is, what does it cost you to live every single month? What does it cost you to live? What is your cost of living? And most people tell me, well, I mean, I think it's about this, or, they don't know exactly. And that's a number that we should know, is what it costs us to live every month, because that is a number for me, cash flow. I want enough cash flow, even for my clients. What I want for them is to become financially independent, where they're not having to worry about having a job to pay for their bills or pay for their cost of living. It's like, let's create ways for your money to start working for you, instead of spending your money on consumables, things that don't have any kind of value, asset value, I should say, because we don't want to not have fun in our life. We don't know if we have tomorrow. I want people to be able to live their life now and in the future, not just now and not have anything for the future. And it's okay to have things, as long as you create a way or design a plan, which is what I like to do, is design a plan for my clients to where they are making enough in passive income to pay for their lifestyle. And so it really is, it's pretty fun when you see that happening for people. And especially I love helping people that have a lot of money, but I really love helping people that don't, that haven't been able to save $1 million for retirement, because that's what they tell us. And now it's even more. But back, just a few years ago, they said, if you could save $1 million for retirement in your 401k or in your retirement plan, then you should be able to live decently in your retirement. It's not necessarily, and that's because you'd be living off of 4% of your money per year. And so that money, if you spend more than the 4%, or you need more than 4% of that $1 million or that 300,000 or whatever it is that you've saved, if you don't have enough, I totally lost my thought. I was going for something and I forgot what I was going to say.
I can understand what you're saying. You're saying that if you have to use more than your 4% of the $1 million saved, then you're actually digging into the principle of it. And so your $1 million isn't going to last as long. And also, people are living a lot longer now, it seems. So once you retire, you have to look, like my dad lived to be 93. And so I remember he actually did like an early retirement in his 50s, and then he ended up going back to work. And he worked probably into his 70s at least, or maybe early 80s, because he did not have enough money saved up. So
and that happens to so many people.
So another thing, there's so many financial gurus out there. You have people who say you should have zero debt at all. Then you have people who say, well, it's okay to have, a house debt. What is your philosophy on good debt versus bad debt?
Well, so I do believe that there is good debt. I believe that bad debt, people just need to know the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is if you're using your credit card to buy food, or you're buying, I mean, I understand if it's a necessity, but if you're trying to grow your wealth, you don't want to use your credit card on consumables, something that is going to be, unless you're using it for points and you're paying it off at the end of the month. But debt, if you have good debt, like for instance, buying a rental property or buying a multifamily or buying something that is bringing you income in, that is good debt. So say you get a loan on a property and the loan is like, say you have a triplex or duplex, whatever it is, and your payment is $600 a month. And I use that as an example because one of my first investments that I bought, my monthly payment on it was like $675 a month. But my rent that I was renting the 3 units out was over $1,000 a piece. So that's what you call good debt. Yes, I have debt, but I also have renters that are paying for that debt. And the thing is you have to be strategic about that, because if you're not, you could put yourself in a really bad situation. I call it strategic good debt, not just good debt, because like owning a home is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing, because a lot of people, they buy a house and they only stay in it for a year. And right now, the time for people that are selling homes is amazing. Like I had some neighbors that bought a house that I sold them, and they've only lived in it for like a year, and they're selling it and they're going to make like over $70,000 in a year. So that's good for them. But guess what? Now they're going to have to go and buy another during this high priced housing market right now. But I do have another client that wants to actually, we're putting her, she wants to put her house for sale because she's an older woman. She's by herself, but she's got this great big house. And right now she can sell the house for over $500,000, and she only owes like $170,000 on it. For her, we could take some of that money that she makes from the profit on the house, and we can put that into a insider secret, into a product that I know about that would pay her that 10% for 90 days. And so her money would actually pay for her to live for free. She'd be able to live for free until the housing market goes down, because her money, instead of sitting in the bank, would actually be making enough money to put her in a place that she could rent for $5,000 a month if she wanted. She doesn't need anything that fancy, but that's just putting her money to work for her so that she can, when the market does turn around, she can go and buy another property.
I think that's really interesting because, again, our real estate market is in just an unusual state right now. And so, but again, like you said, you can actually have conversations with people to determine, is that a good plan to sell your house that you're living in now? And what would you do with the cash that you got out of it? Because you do need to look at all of your tax consequences too when you get big lumps of money like that when you sell something. So what other questions do you ask people about their money so that you can kind of get a handle on their values and their risk tolerance? Because I discovered that my risk tolerance, I don't consider it very high. I get nervous if things go up and down every day, for example.
Well, personally, I like to work with safe strategies, stuff that I know is more contractual. Like I can tell somebody they're going to know exactly how much money they're going to have at the end of the year. It's not a roller coaster, and you kind of hope. It makes things so much easier for like my clients that example, right when you said that, it made me think of one of my clients that he didn't have a lot of money compared to what they're telling us that we should have for retirement, but he was kind of forced into retirement because he got sick. And he had like $250,000. And that may sound like a lot to some, but for retirement to live the rest of your life off of is not a lot of money. And so he was afraid to actually use the money. He had it in the stock market, and it was he had it kind of in a conservative, but he was still losing money. Like in March, he lost a lot of money and he got scared. And so, he put it into cash. And then it was like, because that's all he had, he didn't know what to do. Anyway, he called me and I was talking to him and I said, well, how would it feel to like be able to make money and live off the money that you have, just the interest? I always wanted to live off the interest of my money. And he said that really was what caught his attention, because now he still has his principal. Like he still has that, but we put it to work for him. And now he actually gets a check every single month for over $700. And then at the end of the year, he gets a check for $8,500. And so it's like, that is money that is helping him out every month. What would you do with an extra $700 a month and an extra $8,500 at the end of the year? This is like money that he didn't even know that he had. And he was afraid to use the $250,000 for an emergency. What if he ended up in the hospital? Or what if, if he died, he wanted his wife to have money. But now this money, his $250,000, can last him a long time, actually. Could last him a long time. I mean, he won't run out of money.
Well, that's insider information, because most people, like you said, when they get scared, they pull the cash out, and then the cash, if you're in a traditional bank, I don't even know, what is it, 0.5% or something? I mean, it's like nothing to keep your money in a bank. Or some people take the cash all the way out and put it in a safe somewhere because they're afraid of that. And like I said, I learned about my risk tolerance because I invested just a tiny bit in cryptocurrency, and it was going up and down every day. And I was just like too stressed out to watch it. And then I'm like, there has to be a better way. And like I said, you do have better ways. And I think, 10% interest in today's world is a pretty decent amount of guaranteed interest for many people. And that is every 90 days, not per year. So I don't even know what that interest rate really is, but it's actually higher than 10% because it's done every 90 days. So when you
let me say something really fast about that, okay, before anybody thinks that I have a, okay. So what I do is I have bridge loans that I use with clients that have been around for a long time. So this is money. I mean, I'm not just lending it, or we're not lending it to brand new companies, brand new businesses that are just starting. These are companies that have been around for a long time and they're not going anywhere, but they need fast money for in-between projects. They need money. And so they pay us a nice percentage, because their percentage on just having that money, being able to have that money, saves them a lot. So they pay us a lot, which allows us to pay our clients a lot. And the contract is only for 90 days. So somebody can take all their money and their interest out in 90 days. Some people choose to renew, and then it's a renewal. It's like a brand new contract. And so I just want to let people know it's not always around right now. The market, like the housing market, this particular project that we're working on is doing very well, because if you look around everywhere, there's building going around, and these are developers that have been around for a long time. So that's all. I just wanted to say that, not to, okay, yeah, it's an exciting thing, but I don't want to get anybody, I don't want to say I'm promoting.
Right. And also, just a disclaimer, I'm talking to Chris as somebody who, I have this, let's just say, natural curiosity, and these are, conversations, and there's no guarantees in anything you do. And I'm just really curious about the fact that there are ways to make money that most people never know about. Like I remember back in the day where a CD was like a certificate of deposit was probably the safest thing you could do. And I think in the 70s or 80s, you could make 10% on a certificate of deposit. Today, I think they're, I don't even know, 1% or something.
3% maybe.
1% does not get me excited at all about money. And I think that's why so many people take risks, because it's like, okay, I need to make more than that. And like you said earlier, it's all about the timing. You know, if you have a long time, like you're in your 20s and you start investing, well, that's a long time to have to grow your money. If you're somebody who's already in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, or even 70s, your time to grow your money is much, much shorter. And so I think my point of saying that is I want people to have hope that
Yes,
it's not
you know what,
late.
there is hope out there for people if they're willing to be open, because we're taught a certain way. We've been like brainwashed actually to believe a certain way. We're supposed to keep our money. The only good places to keep our money is in the bank, in the stock market, or buying a home. And that's what we're taught. And it's interesting, I was talking to, because see, I've been doing this since 2012, and I'm always looking for great deals, always looking for great opportunities for my own money. And then I turn around and share it with my clients if it works out. I have been speaking to some people that have a lot of money, like millions. And when I share some of the things with them, they're like, they've known about this. It's not new to them. They've known about it, these opportunities, for a long time, because it's usually reserved for people that have a lot of money. And I won't take anybody's last bit of money. I mean, I want to help people, but I'm not going to leave them in a bad situation. But that's why these 90-day notes actually are great, because they're so short term.
Yeah, 90 days is a tolerable amount of money or of time to not get too nervous about, oh my God, my money's out there. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, Chris, what's the best way to connect with you? Because I'm sure that we could be talking all day long, but I know that it's better for people to talk to you directly and ask you their questions about themselves.
So if they're looking and they would like to speak with me, they can go to cqconsultingservices.com. And on the very first page, there is a button they can put. It says get started. And it's just a discovery call. They can just make an appointment there. And I get on the phone with them and I'll ask them questions about their specific situation and see how I can help them, and maybe give them some clarity or some suggestions of a direction that they might want to go.
Great.
Not a sales call. It's just it's a discovery call.
Great. And how can they get a copy of your book, The Less You Know, the More They Make?
Well, if they want a Kindle version, they can go on to Amazon and get it there. And if they would like to purchase a paperback, they can just on the same website, CQ Consulting Services, there is a button that says shop, and my book is right there.
Okay, cqconsultingservices.com.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And everyone, again, we could talk forever about this, but 30 minutes goes by like that. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate your time. And everybody, again, Chris is a member in the BeeKonnected portal, so you can go look her up. Her last name is Quintana, and you can look her up and you can actually connect with her there, and you guys can go from there. As you know, she's very knowledgeable. And like I said, I have literally learned so much about money and finances from Chris. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone, this is Tamara Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.